I'm Kate Moskva and I'm the CEO of the SALA Festival. We're here at the Royal South Australian Society for the Arts and we're going to be watching a portrait demonstration today. So we have 4 artists practicing in different media and there'll be a subject who'll sit for 2 hours. It's a great opportunity not only to discover new artists but to have a look at new venues and also to see what's happening in your own neighbourhood. Today's portrait is with His Excellency the Governor Hieu.
Yes, no.
We're here now with the President of the Royal Society for the Arts, David Baker. David, tell us what's happening here right now.
What's happening here is we've got 4 artists painting the Governor of South Australia. One of them is doing work on a sewing machine. Occasionally you'll hear that cut in noises as she does that. She creates work live as a painter would with a brush, or somebody drawing would do with a pencil. She creates live onto the material with the sewing machine, which is fantastic. Her name is Cheryl. We've got Hieu next to her, and Hieu is a painter, and he paints straight to canvas or paper or boards. Next to him we've got Scott. Scott is sculpting, and next to him we have Aroda, and Aroda's drawing with charcoal. She has two works in this exhibition.
Thank you, David. Now, tell us a little bit about what the Royal Society for the Arts is about and how long you've been here and been in this place.
So I've been here about 4.5 to 5 years, and I started as a rookie. I didn't do art for most of my life, so the art field was new and exciting when I jumped in. And last year in October, they voted me to be president, so now I'm in that majestic role of looking after the place. And we have a lot of good helpers. So we're 163 years old. We're the oldest Royal Society in Australia, and we're also the longest running art gallery in Australia in the same building. We beat Melbourne by 1 month, and we're going to be now publishing that because we've only just found that out. We have an enormous amount of history. We have hundreds of wonderful pieces of work in our collection, which is stored away safely. And we have thousands of books, some of them worth in the thousands of dollars each, in our library, which we're going to be putting on view this year with a database connection, so other people can get access to our books as well.
That's wonderful. And tell me a little bit about the Portrait Prize. I know that surrounding us around this live art demonstration, we have an exhibition of the SALA Portrait Prize competition, and these portrait demonstrations are happening throughout August as part of SALA. Do you want to tell me a little bit about what the live portrait demonstrations are about?
Sure. The live portrait demonstrations are part of this process, which started in 1988 with the Moran Prize. The Moran Prize brought their work over here, and then the Moran Photographic, and then the Not the Moran Prize came over here, and then they decided it was too expensive. So we ran our own exhibition and we put in a small amount of money. And then the Chang family sponsored one for $10,000, and now we have the Kennedy Foundation sponsoring, and this is their second. It's a $10,000 first prize, $22,000 prizes in all, and the opening was on Sunday. We had a large number of people in the space. And so as part of the presentation of the portraits, which is what we're trying to hold in this exhibition, Jack decided that what we should have is demonstrations, exhibitions of people working, and they'd be working live in front of an audience.
Wonderful, and it's a great way to see art being made and see behind the scenes. Often we see the finished product on the wall, as we can around us here today, but it's good to see where the artists start, you know, whether they start with the eyes or whether they frame the face, and how they, you know, really capture that essence of the subject.
Scott starts from the inside and works out. So he starts with the bones and then the muscles and then the facial tissue. Unlike most people who work with sculpture, start on the outside and cut back to what they see. He builds it from how he sees the body is constructed and then puts the skin on at the end. So it's spectacular to watch him do that.
Thank you, David. I can't wait to see what the portraits look like after 2 hours. Cheryl, now you have just started your 2-hour portrait of His Excellency. Now it's an extraordinary medium that you work in. You're working free form on the sewing machine. Can you tell us a little bit about how you chose to work in that medium and what it's like doing a portrait on a sewing machine?
Well, I'm a drawer. I've fine art trained, self-taught as an embroiderer, and for me it's drawing. I use the same techniques, hatching, cross-hatching. As you saw at the beginning, I was just scribbling around, finding the face of the governor. But first of all, I did a drawing on paper, a small drawing which I would take home to finish. I don't draw on the fabric. I love it to be free and spontaneous. Can't rub out. And I can't paint over it. So I love the medium. It's very free. And the drawing that I did first gives me a guide of his face, his details, his form. If I did a lot more painting, I'd even do that with a painting. I love to start straight away if I do a painting with a brush, and I've related that to the machine. The governor has a very interesting face. One of the things doing a face is looking into their eyes, finding a bit about them, and it's a different medium. It's a totally different medium.
And do you think you know His Excellency better now after this portrait session?
I think I do. One of the things, he has a really warm smile. I love the fact that he was smiling, and I hope mine started out looking a bit grumpy until I turned the lips up. So hopefully he will have a very happy face at the end.
Excellent, wonderful. We're looking forward to seeing it. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm here with Scott, and we're about halfway through the portrait demonstration. Scott, tell me a little bit about how you get ready to start your portrait in clay, and tell me about the process of working in front of a live subject.
Sure. What I do is I work on an armature, which is made of wood, aluminium, steel, and I make it so it's fairly flexible, so I can move around. And what I do is I start off putting all the anatomical, foundation is what I call it. You're building on a foundation. So I lay in all the basic bones, the muscles, the ligaments, the eye sockets, and then I start almost forensically, like building up on top of that. And then obviously working from the model, it's a little bit tricky at such a distance because I like to actually be, fairly close. And I use these. These are called calipers. So what I do is, I won't try them on you, but I do that, and it gives me the exact measurements of where, the bone structure is, the length of the face, the width of the face, the depth. And then that's really, I really use these at the start. That's, to really establish the proper proportions. And then, then you start really going into the likeness. And then once you've got your likeness, you start really going into the emotions. That's when it takes almost more time than physical effort. You're almost reading the person and injecting those emotions that you're feeling into the work. And that's when it starts to really become alive. And that's when you really capture the essence and spirit of the sitter, if you will.
And how do you know when you're there? How do you know that you've got it perfect and that's the perfect portrait of that person and that you've captured something of their essence?
Probably never. I don't know, you're always, even a week or two after I finished a piece, a painting or a sculpture, I always look at it and think I could do a little bit more. You sort of... yeah, but I guess answering your question is right towards the end, and it's really important to look at it with fresh eyes because, if you've been working on it all day, you almost get tunnel vision. So you stop and then you come back to it the next day with fresh eyes, and then you see something that you didn't see before. And that's when just those little things, just very slowly, you start to get it. Yeah. So
It sounds like you approach things from a very medical perspective. Do you study medical books and anatomy books before you undertake your sculptures?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when I left school, I become a professionally trained butcher, so I understand medical, animal anatomy, and wasn't until about my early 20s, about 22. I really got back into my artwork, and I started studying medical anatomy.
It's a fascinating approach to building an artwork. So I look forward to seeing when it's done, or at least when the essence of His Excellency has been achieved.
Yeah, well, I've negotiated with the protocol officer from Government House 2 more sessions to be working from His Excellency. So it's going to be really beneficial, thanks, and I can really get my measurements, So.
Fantastic. Well, I'll let you get back to it then.
Thank you.
I'm here with Iroda, and we are about 3/4 of the way through the 2-hour live portrait demonstration. You can see Iroda's made amazing progress. Can you tell us a little bit about what the process is for you when you're looking at someone and starting their portrait? Where do you start, and how do you know when you've got their essence? Do you start with the eyes or the frame of the face?
Never with eyes. Eyes, it's always at the end, I think. And I always repeat my professor who used to tell me, don't draw eyes, always draw what's surrounding eyes. Then the eyes gonna come out themselves. It's I never pay too much attention to eyes at the beginning. I prefer to work from a big to small. I can't work from a small, a one spot and out. So I prefer to get the whole feeling of it, yeah.
Yeah, you've got lots of people watching you today, so a little bit more nerves. And how do you think you'll go in finishing within the 2 hours? Will there be a lot more to do when the buzzer goes off?
I think with the charcoal, it's a fast medium. So if you overdo it, I think it's not going to come out as well, because sometimes it's hardest thing is know when to stop. Because with the charcoal, why I like charcoal, it's catching a moment. When you meet the first person, first impression, so charcoal gives you that, so you can just try to capture that moment.
Just a moment in time. Wonderful. Well, thank you, and good luck with finishing it off. Thanks. Hi Hugh, well you've just finished your portrait of the Governor. Tell me how you thought that went.
Well, it's always a bit of a worry whether it's coming out all right or not, but I've got the rudiments there and I'll take it home now and work on it for a lot longer.
So it was about 2 hours. How long would you normally spend working on a portrait?
It can be 6 hours, it can be 24 hours, it can be a very long process because the details have to be correct to get someone looking right.
And how do you begin? Do you spend a lot of time looking at the subject and trying to pick something in their face that you're going to focus on?
Well, I looked at the Governor's publicity photographs on the net a lot. They're very formal, so I was thinking, how do I get him to be less formal? And that's what I've attempted to achieve just by, I had a picture in my head of what it might look like and I'm somewhere near it. Yeah.
Excellent, and good luck with finishing it off. Hopefully it doesn't take another 25 hours.
Because he was a terrific setter, really good. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we can't wait to see the finished product. Thank you.
Very much. That's great. Thanks a lot.
thank you so much for sitting for the portrait. You mentioned a moment ago that this was your first time sitting.
Yes, it is the first time, but I think I've never forget this. It's a wonderful opportunity.
How did it feel having all the artists and the audience staring at you for so long?
Well, I feel a bit humble that so many people paying so much attention to me.
You're in the public eye a lot, though, so you must be used to that.
Not this with this detail and analysis of everything. And great experience. Yes.
And I know you're a big fan of SALA, and you open up your garden to...
I am.
Yeah, and you've got the Governor's Garden sculptural exhibition open this year.
Yes, we want to make it bigger and bigger every year, and this year is we have about 27 pieces of sculptures. So I hope everybody will come and enjoy it.
Yes, I know that's being installed as we speak in your garden.
Yeah, that's right.
And tell me what you think SALA means to South Australia.
SALA means we allow everybody, all South Australians, with any endeavour in the arts should have the go. And we're providing that platform, we're providing that opportunity for everyone. And I think it's great for our society, for our people.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Can I take a photograph? Yes, yes.